Love, Written in Red, Part 3. Mocked. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the governor's headquarters, and they gathered the whole battalion before him, and they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. Twisting together a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and put a reed in his right hand. And kneeling before him, they mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they spit on him, and took the reed, and struck him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they stripped him of the robe, and put his own clothes on him, and led him away to crucify him. That is from Matthew 27:27 through 31. The crown of thorns has become one of the symbols of Christ's suffering. It was forced on Jesus' head in order to mock him as being King of the Jews. Now these thorns were not briars. They were probably around an inch long. Being forced into his skin, they tore at his skin, and blood ran down his brow. The road to Golgotha, or the Via Dolorosa. The road to Calvary is sometimes referred to as the Via Dolorosa. In Spanish, this means painful path. Jesus' path this far has already been painful. Honestly, painful is an understatement. It has been excruciating. He has already been beaten to the point that he is unrecognizable. He has been mocked. He has had a crown of large thorns forced down on his head and into his skin. Sadly, it only got worse from here. So the soldiers took charge of Jesus. Carrying his own cross, he went out to the place of the skull, which in Aramaic is called Golgotha, and that is from John 19:16b through 17. As the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon from Cyrene, who was on his way in from the country, and put the cross on him, and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. That is from Luke 23:26 through 27. A certain man from Cyrene, Simon, the father of Alexander and Rufus, was passing by on his way in from the country, and they forced him to carry the cross. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull, and that's from Mark 15:21 through 22. So not only is Jesus marching to his death, but he is being forced to carry the instrument of his demise. Eventually, Christ is even too weak to carry it. A man named Simon is ordered to carry the cross for him. Crucified. Now Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." Then many of the Jews read this title, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Therefore the chief priests of the Jews said to Pilate, "Do not write King of the Jews." But he said, "I am King of the Jews." Pilate answered, "What I have written, I have written." Then the soldiers, when they had crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts, to each soldier a part, and also a tunic. Now the tunic was without seam, woven from the top in one piece. They said therefore among themselves, "Let us not tear it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be, that the scripture might be fulfilled, which says, 'They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots.'" Therefore the soldiers did these things. Now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother, and his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing by, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour the disciple took her to his own home. And that is from John 19:19 through 27.